You're welcome. I hope you can see me. Mm, Looking forward to a great session today. Thanks, Vivian. You're welcome, Jimo. You're welcome, Fumalayo. You're welcome, Ebere. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Adobe, for a response. So, are you joining me from? Which part of Nigeria or which country are you joining me from? Kogi, Nigeria. Okay. Abuja, United Kingdom. Wonderful. Lagos. Okay. Aba. Nice one. From Imo State. Okay. Great. From Port Harcourt. It's so good to see you all. From Enugu. Okay. Good. You're all welcome. So, at any point you are not hearing me or there's a network glitch or whatever, just let me know. I can always come back to where I stopped. Okay, so I don't know if we should give like 5 minutes. Okay, it's already 8:05 p.m. and it's a 60-minute workshop. So we need to get started. I believe other people are going to be joining us. Yeah, please just give me a minute. Listen, Chidi. Okay, okay. So we get started. I hope I'm audible enough for you. You can all hear me, right? Okay, thank you. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So I would really appreciate if we can, pay attention to the session before you start asking questions because the question you might be asking might just be going to be discussed in another slide. You understand that? So I would really appreciate you pay attention first. Then after the session, then you can start asking your question, especially on the areas that you felt was not discussed. You get that? So I would really appreciate that. All right. Thank you. So you're welcome to the free 1 hour workshop on the new caregiver pilot program in Canada. So, who am I? My name is Ngozi Okolo. I am a certified ICF educational consultant. I am also a career coach. I use the knowledge of the career industry in determining how to help my students when it comes to the course of study they are going for and the program of study to go for. For most of us here, we already know what is happening in Canada. So that is why they getting the information on career and using it to determine your course selection matters a lot. So that's what I do. You get that? So we move on. The quick facts about caregiver program in Canada. And I want you to know that this is an industry that is working. You get that? Because the population of the aged in Canada is huge. You know, that was what even informed Canada immigration in the first place. That the population of the aged are now even more than the active population, which is why Canada started an immigration that brings in foreigners who are still young and vibrant and able to work. You get that? So the quick fact you need to know about the caregiver program is that in June 2014, there was an inventory of over 60,000 persons for the live-in caregiver program. So the live-in caregiver program is where you as an employee has to live with the person you are taking care of. So live in, just as the name suggests. You get that? So in June 2014, there was an inventory of over 60,000 persons for this part of caregiver program. But as of today, less than 1% of this living caregiver program inventory remains, meaning that 99% have been successfully and have successfully gotten their PR working as living caregivers. Now, as part of this new caregiver program, which is from 2024 to 2026, immigration levels plan, Canada will admit over 15,000 caregivers as permanent residents. So just look at what is written there, 15,000 caregivers as permanent residents. By the time we go on, you will see that 15,000 caregivers does not mean 15,000 caregivers to be made permanent residents does not mean they need only 15,000 caregivers. You get that? Because there is a process, and it is a case of the first people that are able to get the requirements of being a permanent resident. You get? So they will be bringing in more than 15,000 people, but the first 15,000 to be eligible for this pathway will get a permanent resident. You understand? Then, as of April 30th of this year, nearly 5,700 caregivers and their family members have become permanent residents since the launch of the Home Child Care Provider Pilot Program and the Home Support Worker Pilot Program since 2019. Over 5,700 caregivers have gotten permanent residence. So I want you to look at it since from 2019 to date is 5 years. So for 5 years that these two caregiver pathway was introduced, that's a home child care provider and the home support worker pilot program, they've made 5,700 caregivers and their family members permanent residents. That's to tell you that for the fact that the government said we are making 15,000 people caregivers in 2 years, that does not mean that it's only 15,000 people that are that have access. You know, the 5,700 that have become caregivers, I bet you that over 20,000 must have applied for this program must have been working here as caregivers. But the ones that made that 5,700 are the number that meet up with the permanent resident eligibility. Now, who is a caregiver? This is for people who are here that are not caregivers. Now, what I want you to know is that this 15,000 is for both those who are qualified and those who will be qualified. You get that? So everything depends on if you meet up with the eligibility, when you will meet up. If you meet up with the eligibility within these 2 years of 2024 to 2026, then you'll be one of them. You understand that? The eligibility process is not so difficult. That's the beautiful thing, about this program. Now, a caregiver is someone who tends to the needs of persons with short or long-term limitations due to illness, injury, or disability. Now, the different caregiver programs that Canada operates, because everything you're going to be saying is what is obtainable in Canada, not just by, there might be other caregiver programs operating in other countries, but the one that is obtainable in Canada, we have the home child care provider, we have the home support worker, we have the live-in caregiver, and we have those caring for people with high medical needs. You get that? Now, for the sake of this new caregiver pilot care program, it is restricted to only the first two, the home child care provider and the home support worker. Now, I want you to take, to look at those two, the first two. You can see that they all start with home. Home. I'm going to somewhere with this. They all start with home. You get that? So not when you're going to get a job, you go to a facility or a clinic, it must be home. You get that? It must be home. Now, for the active caregiving programs, that's the one I just talked about. One of them is the home support worker pilot and the home child care provider pilots. They are the two most active care giver pathways in Canada. Now, who is a home support worker? The home support worker provides personal care and companionship for seniors, persons with disabilities, and convalescent clients. So I also made mention of who a convalescent client is. It's a client with a short-term support program for older adults. You get, it's a type of program on its own for the aged. You get that? For older adults recovering from illness, injury, or surgery, it can also be referred to as recovery care. You get that? The goal of convalescent care is to nurture recovering older adults until they regain optimal health. So for those of you who are here and are active caregivers, you would understand what I'm talking about. You get that? And so the home support workers program is provided within the client's residence, in which the home support worker may also reside. You get that? So you are going to be attending to the aged in their house, in their residence. We'll be talking about the different places where you cannot go and apply for jobs. You get what they just need. This has been happening for the past 5 years. You understand that? And that is why if you're in Canada and you are going for, you are applying for a caregiver program, and you indicate to them that you are a visitor or you are applying from outside, they'll always ask you, do you have a car? Do you have a driver's license? Because they do not want a delay when they ask you to go to a resident apartment and then you start telling them the boss did not come early, the boss had one problem or the other. They want you to have your own car. You understand that? So they are also employed by home care and support agencies, private households, or self-employed. You get that? So that's for the home care, the home support worker. Now, let's look at what makes you qualified as the home support worker, especially you that have been doing the caregiving, program. You must, this is from IRCC websites. You get that? Everything you're seeing here is called from the IRCC website because you're going to be working with what they need. You get, and not what you think you have done. You get. So you provide care and companionship for individuals and families during periods of incapacitation, convalescence, and family disruption. You administer bedside and personal care to clients such as aid in ambulation, bathing, personal hygiene, dressing them and undressing them. You get that? So you know how it is with aged people. It's just like we are also just like the way you take care of your child. You get. So I also brought this out for those who are interested in coming to do this job but don't even know what is expected of them. You get. So at the end of this workshop, you'll be able to ask yourself, can I do this job? Because this job is something you need to have passion for. You get. If you are coming to do this job because you are looking for PR, the road to PR will not come like today. You get. You are going to do this job. You are going to do it here. You are going to get a job as a home support worker. You will do the job in Canada. You get, and you're going to work on this job for between 6 months to 12 months before you become eligible to start applying for PR. You understand? You must have worked. So in as much as Canada said, if you come, once you land, you will get given a PR. Yes, if you land here and you meet all the eligibility to apply for PR, you would only start that process, but you're going to do the job that brought you to Canada. You get that? You're going to do the job. You get. So this is not a case of I'm going to apply for PR and then once I get my PR, I port. No, you are going to do that job. You get, for as long as you are awaiting your PR to come. So you're going to plan and prepare meals and special diets and feed or assist in feeding clients. You are going to be performing routine health-related duties such as changing non-sterile dressings, like their underwears, assisting in the administration of medications and collecting their specimens. You're going to be performing routine housekeeping duties such as laundry, washing dishes, and making their beds. This is what you're going to be doing for them. You get that? So this is what you're going to be doing, the main duties you're going to be doing as a home support worker. Now, another thing is I mentioned 2 programs. You are only going to be qualified for one. There is nothing like I have once done this for the elderly people, and then I have also looked after children. You must be, Nigerians will say, stand in one place. You must be in one place. Which of them are you qualified for? Are you qualified for this job, for the home support worker, or are you qualified for the home child care provider? You get that? You must be qualified in one. And it is from that one you are qualified that you're going to get in the documents, your referral letter. You get that? Shows I have done this job for this number of years. You get that? Then the home child care provider pilots program. They care for children on an ongoing or short-term basis. They care for the well-being and physical social development of children, assist parents with child care, and may assist with household duties. They provide care primarily in their own homes or in the children's homes. So you can have the um you can be doing this job in your own house. Yes, we have them here. We have them here in Canada. People that do home child care providers in their house. So more like a self-employed, you know, more like self-employed. You get, and you bring children to them. You get in their house, or you go to other people's house, to look after their children for them. You get that? So they provide the care primarily in their own homes or in the children's homes where they may also reside. You get that as a live-in. They are employed by private households and child care agencies, or they may be self-employed. Now, this is your duties as a home child care provider. If you're not doing any of these, you do not meet up with what Canada wants. You get that? You supervise and care for children in employers or your own residents. You bathe, dress, and feed infants and children. You prepare formulas and change diapers for infants. You plan, prepare, and serve meals for children and may perform other housekeeping duties. You oversee children's activities such as meals and rest periods as instructed by employer. You maintain a safe and healthy environment in the home. You instruct children in personal hygiene. You tend to the emotional well-being of children and support their social development. You can see what you ought to be doing. So you can see, in fact, even from the home support duties I read out, you see why if you are coming in from outside, they will need you to have certificates. You get it? Because these are not just what you say, oh, I have my own children, I have done all these things. You need to be a professional. You get that? You need to be a professional. You get that? Even for these children's own, it is not something that you just apply for based on your, previous experience with your children. You get, they need to look at your certificate and see that you've done all these things. They are very strict when it comes to outsiders because they know that if you are inside Canada, there's 80% possibility that you did this, because in Canada you don't just wake up to be a home support worker or a home child care provider. For like the home support worker, most times your employer will train you on the job. So these are all what they do in the job. So they train you for it. You don't just start working without training. You get, and then you also do this at least minimum of 6 months program, a caregiving program here. You get, so you need to. These are the things they will teach you before you can be able to do this. So by the time you start applying for PR, you get that there are people that will apply, they will be rejected. It doesn't matter if you've been doing caregiver or home child care provider. By the time they scrutinize all you have been doing, in that your job, they know whether it is, in alignment with what they want in Canada. So you instruct children in personal hygiene, you tend to the emotional well-being of children and support their social development. You provide age-appropriate educational training through organized activities such as games, crafts, reading, outing. You take children to and fro and their appointments. You get that? So if you look at these duties, you see that it also reflects on the lifestyle of the people here. So if you presently live abroad, these duties will not be strange to you, because the way we look after children back home is different from what they do here. You understand that? So that is why if you are coming from outside, it's going to be the eligibility will be more stringent for you. You understand? Now, let's talk about your eligibility for this program. How do you or how can you qualify to be part of these 15,000 caregivers? How can you qualify? One is that you need to attain a minimum of a level 4 based on the Canadian language benchmark, which is what we call CLB. You get that? So making a 4 in under the Canadian language benchmark, that's the CLB, it means that your listening, as in what forms that band 4, is that your listening has to be 4.5. So making 4.5 in listening, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the IELTS test. With the IELTS test, it's a 40 marks test. 40 marks that tests your understanding of English language. It tests your listening ability, reading ability, speaking ability, and writing ability. You get that? And most times it's the British English you get. So getting 4.5 means that you made between 13 to 14 out of 40 questions. You got 13, or let's just use 14. You got 14 correct scores out of 40 questions. That is what gets you 4.5 in listening. Your reading should be a minimum of 3.5, meaning you still made like 14 out of 40 questions. You got 14 correct questions. You get that to get you 3.5. The same thing applies to writing and speaking. You are getting like 14 out of 40. This is an English language test, so it's not like you are writing French. French also have theirs too. You get that? So, I mean, we all did English language, right? There's no way you cannot get up to 14 over 40 in English language. You get? Now, I handle IELTS preparation classes. So there's one thing I want you to know. Some of you might be seeing these scores. How can I not make 14 over 40 in each of these modules? Well, I tell you, if you attempt the IELTS exam with this mindset that these questions, that the scores you need to make are easy to get, you will not even make up to this score. You understand that? You will not. The way IELTS is like someone who says, I must make 2-1, but you are aiming at first class. That when it becomes, worst case scenario, you fall into that 2-1. You must be aiming to make a very good score in your IELTS to be able to make the scores. You understand that? That's how it works. You need to see some people's IELTS scores. They cannot even show it to you because it's terrible. And the way it happens, it leaves them in shock because they thought they did well. You understand that? So, by next month, September 16th, we are starting another batch of IELTS. If you are interested, you can come and you can indicate, you get the link. Another thing I want to let you know, because when they need these IELTS is when you have actually gotten a job. You don't really need IELTS to get a job. You get that? You don't really need it. It's for when you are ready to apply for the permanent resident. Remember what I said earlier? You need to work You need to get a job first. Get a job first in Canada. Work for between 6 months to 12 months, and that makes you eligible to start applying for PR. Now, when applying for permanent residence, just like every other program, whether you're applying for permanent residence under the Federal Express Entry or Provincial Nomination Program or the Atlantic Immigration Program, or you graduate as a student and want to start applying for PR, this IELTS is the first to greet you. You must write IELTS test. Now, for this caregiver, they made it so low so that it wouldn't be a problem for you to get a PR. Because for express entry, for you to be able to scale through, this one they're saying listening 4.5. Your listening must not be less than 8. For your listening to come up to 8, it means your raw score should be nothing less than 35 out of 40. Meaning from the 40 questions, you should get 35 correctly. That is for the express entry. So for the government of Canada to come down this low is just for them to tell you that they need caregivers desperately. You understand that? So, but the secret I'm giving you is this. Do not look down on the scores. If you do not aim to get something higher, you can't even get up to these scores. That is how IELTS is, man. I've been on it for more than 5 years now. You get. Now, you need the equivalent of a Canadian high school diploma. So the equivalent of a Canadian high school diploma is your WIAC, your secondary school WIAC. So just to tell you how desperate again they need caregivers, as at last year, you must have a post-secondary school certificate, which is you must have at least a 1 year higher degree that is not secondary school. But for these 15,000 people, they need just your WIAC is enough, or whatever country you are from that are listening to me, your secondary school certificate makes you qualified. That's a minimum requirement. Then you must have recent and relevant work experience that is less than 12 months experience or more than 12 months experience. So under this work experience, there are like 2 categories. The less than 12 months for those that are yet to have a solid, work experience as caregivers. You get that? That's where the 6 months comes in. That's the less than 12 months you are saying. You get. Then for the ones that are already more than 12 months, they fall into those that are actually ready to apply for permanent residence. There are already people in this Canada that meet all requirements. They have worked for more than 12 months as caregivers. These people, immediately this program starts, because they are still in the job, right? They're in Canada. Because the job that determines your eligibility in terms of work experience is the one you did in Canada. You understand? So there are people already in Canada. They have already worked for more than 12 months. They've already met all the requirements. They've done their IELTS. They've met the academic requirements. They have a full-time home care job or home care in terms of the aged or for children. Now, theirs is just to start applying for PR. You get that? But if you are yet to meet up with that, if you are still in this less than 12 months, then you will still need to work. So you might have more than 12 months, even outside Canada, but they need work experience here in Canada. You understand? then you receive an offer for a full-time job. Full-time job, according to this program, is a job you do for 30 hours, a minimum of 30 hours per week. Minimum. So for like, because I've been getting questions from students in Canada, they ask, okay, I'm a student, I do caregiving as as my part-time job. Because you're not doing up to 30 hours per week, you are not qualified. You get that? If you are working up to 30 hours per week, then you are qualified to apply. Now, these are what is referred to as genuine job offer from the Canadian government. This is what they allow as a genuine job offer. You must have a job offer from an employer in Canada. This job offer can be applied from outside or inside Canada. Yes. For those of you that are not residing here presently, you can apply for jobs from outside. You get that? This job offer must satisfy the requirement of a home support worker. Just like I said earlier, these are from the IRCC website. You get that? So you see why I brought out the duties of home support worker and home child care. Whatever you are doing as a job must be in alignment with those duties. You get? So this job offer must satisfy the requirement of a home support worker or a home child care provider. You need to be qualified for only one of these two and not both together. You need a work experience of 6 months to 12 months in the last 36 months before you can apply for a permanent residence. So you must have worked between 6 months to 12 months in the last 36 months. So if maybe you have been doing caregiver and you stopped, so by 2024, they need those who have been working as caregivers between this 2024 backwards to 2021. You understand? So if you have done caregiver job from 2020 down, like 2020, 2019, 2018, you are not eligible. You get that? You are not eligible. The work experience you are going to provide is the one you did, starting from now down backwards. You get that if you're applying for PR. If you have not yet qualified for the PR, I told you earlier that those who have worked for more than 12 months in Canada and have all their documentations, they can apply for PR because they are still on the job, right? So they've done more than 12 months in the past 36 months. You get that? For you that will be coming in to do the job, like you're applying from outside of this place, you got a job, you've never had a caregiver experience, but you now got a job to do caregiving experience. So you're now going to put in between 6 to 12 months in Canada. So that makes you eligible in meeting up with the last 36 months. So if you were doing caregiver job before and you now stopped and started pursuing other things, and you did it outside this 2021 and upwards, then you are not qualified. Now, you need a full-time 30 hours per week job to qualify for this program. Remember, all these are under the genuine job offer. The job must be from someone hiring you directly for their own care or the care of someone they have a personal relationship with. So the parent, spouse, or child. Like if I bring you in to come and take care of my aged parents, you meet up. You get, if you are sent by an agency to someone's house to take care of them, it is a genuine job offer. The employment should not be from a business. You get, maybe somebody has a facility where all the caregivers come together and they look, here they have such arrangements. They have facilities here. Such jobs are always for those who are already permanent residents or citizens here. You have what they call caregiver facility, where children bring their parents to come and stay there, and they have home support, they have support workers, caregivers looking after them in that facility. They have no business with coming to your house. You get that? That's another arrangement. Canada says that arrangement is not for you because you are not a permanent resident. You get, for those who are interested in this program, you must not get any job offer from a business, an embassy, a high commission, or a consulate. It must be home. You can see the name going with it. Home, 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 home. Whether for child, home. You get, or you were employed in a school to come and do like a sort of minding job or looking after children in a school. It is not part of it. They said it must not be from a business. You get that? So I want to note this. I'm really, really bringing out salient points because it will aid you in knowing the kind of jobs that you are going for. You get, so that by the time you go to employment sites, you are searching for home jobs, not just go and put in caregiver jobs and then anyone that comes out, you start applying. You have to be conscious, or very intentional to know that you're applying to anything home. You get that? Or you're applying to agencies that that refers you to homes. You get that? Now the job must be genuine, meaning that there is a real need to hire you. You get that? So I might say, okay, I want to help my sibling. Okay, I need someone to come and take care of my children. You get, and in the actual sense, there is no need. My last baby is like 7 years. I mean, he can to some extent do some things on his own. You get that. Just because I want to bring you in, I would, put up the interest that I want to hire a home support worker. So that's what they said. The job must be genuine, meaning that there is real need to hire you. The salary on the job offer must be reviewed by immigration. They must review it. It must be a salary that shows that you'll be able to support yourself and your family members while working as a caregiver in Canada. Because this is one route that does not require proof of fund. The caregiver pathway does not require proof of fund. But when you get a job and you start applying for PR, they're going to look at the number of, your family size that is coming with you to do that job. And they will now also look at the salary you're going to be paid. If they say that salary cannot handle you and your children in Canada, they will not give you a PR. You get that? So this is not just me saying what I feel. The caregiver program started in 2019. And I was in groups. There were like Indian groups, actually, because they were even getting more of those jobs. But some of them were being denied PR. They will say it, they will post it on the group. They were being denied PR because the salary of the job they got cannot carry their family. You get that? So what they were being advised to do is, if you have such a job, then you can also have your own funds to support it. You get that? But in all I can advise you is, whatever job you are getting as a caregiver, ensure that it is a well-paying job. You understand that? Because even if you're going to use your own funds to support it, by the time you're now in Canada, how would you continue sustaining yourself and your children? You get that? So that's what they are looking at. Now, I'll be discussing the occupation restricted open work permits. This is the type of work permit you are going to be given by the time an employer in Canada gives you a job offer. So if you meet the requirement of a genuine job offer, just like I read out, you will get an occupation restricted open work permit to work in Canada temporarily. You get that. This work permit lets you work as a caregiver for any employer. So it's not like the other type that they call employer specific work permit. If you have an employer specific work permit, you are stuck with that employer, even if they are, doing things that are not ethical in that job. It is so difficult to move out or to change. You get that. So, but this type of open work permit, the occupation restricted, you can work as a caregiver for any employer, meaning that if the employer you are with is not doing you well, you can move to another employer. Then you must gain at least 6 months of eligible work experience from this work permit before you can start applying for PR. Now, these are what this occupation restricted open work permit will do for you. It permits you a work status, to work as a caregiver in Canada. The employer doesn't need an LMIA. Very wonderful. Like any job-based route that does not allow the employer to go and apply for LMIA, because the process of LMIA is not even easy. And the new policy on ground right now is that any employment or any job offer you are given that has low income, you won't get LMIA for it. The government of Canada is after job offers now that you earn well. You get that? So you already know what that means. Any job that makes you earn well in Canada is a high-rated job, right? If you're coming to do all those this kind of farm works, picking fruits and all those stuff that earns you very little wage, all those, they are scrapped out. You can't get LMIA for them again. You get that? So the good thing about this caregiver pilot program is that the employer doesn't need a labor market impact assessment with this LMIA to hire you. Just like the AIP, Atlantic Immigration Program, they don't need LMIA. So that's the beautiful thing about any job any job-based program that is on a pilot mode. They don't need LMIA because the LMIA sort of restricts employers because the process is not convenient at all. Now, you can change employers without getting a new work permit or a new job offer. Now, and your dependents are eligible to apply for an open work permit or a study permit. So when you are coming to Canada, your spouse is eligible to apply for open work permits. You get that? Or a study permit, whichever one they want to go for. So you can see that this occupation restricted open work permit is just like the open work permit we know for students, like those who are doing their master's degree. You get that? So this is where my free session with you ends. This is where it ends. So if you know you qualify for all these, from everything I've been discussing from slide 1 to this slide 13, by now you should know. I mean, you know your profile. So by now you should know if the 15,000 permanent residents prepared for caregivers, if you meet up with it. By now you should know. You understand? By now you should also know if you are in like you are capable of going through this whole process. You understand that? By now, you should know. Only you know what you can do. You get that? So, I'm going to be taking us to the next session. The next session is what or how I can help you to achieve all this. Whether as an active caregiver that you are, like most people that registered from UK, most of them are already doing the caregiver job, right? You're already active in it. You already meet up with the last 36 months. You the only thing just left for you is how do I get the job? Because it is a job-based route. You get that? It's a job-based route. So your own worry now is how do I get the job? You get that? So when I announced this free workshop, if you follow me on Facebook, that was the first place I announced it. I said there is going to be a free session where I will break down the requirements. I bet you that even for those of you that are stuck to YouTube, I don't know if anybody has broken this requirements down the way I have done this. You understand that? I took my time to do this. I love working with people who understand. You get that? Because it makes the process of helping you very easy. You know why we are doing a particular thing. You get that? So that's why I took my time to do this. You understand that? So the next slide you're going to be seeing is how I can help you. That will be the paid session. You get that? How I am going to help you to achieve this. If you know you can help yourself, all well and good. I have already told you what you need to work with. I have already sounded it again and again that you can only get a job in a home. You get that? You can only get a job. So if you reside in Canada, you reside outside of Canada, then pay attention to the next slide. So the next stage will be a paid stage. It's going to be a 2 days workshop, a 2 days paid workshop on how you can apply for jobs in Canada, the different platforms. It's not like always going to Indeed, everybody Indeed. There are other platforms that are workable that you can do this. I'll be presenting to you comprehensive breakdown of job platforms. You will explore together the top 5 active job-based platforms that specialize in securing caregiving positions in Canada. You get that? And, subsequent permanent residence, you need a job first. Before we talk about PR, you need to work. You get? So there are job-based routes in operation in Canada, and they are like flexible when it comes to evaluating your resumes and the rest. You need IELTS preparation. Like now, the IELTS is for who? When it's time to apply for PR. But then, because you're applying from outside Canada, if you can indicate that you've already done an IELTS exam, it helps you the employer to, it helps your resume to scale. It helps your cover letter to scale. It helps your application to scale because they know that it's always like a problem for Africans to comprehend what a white man is speaking. You understand? I mean, even for those that are here, you know how long it took you. You get that? I can tell you that Even right now, there are some of them that talk so fast that I still don't even know what they're saying. You'll get that. Not to talk of you that you have not been in the midst of these people before. If you're expecting them to come and be speaking English the way I'm speaking it to you, you are just wasting your time. You get that? This is the essence of this IELTS preparation. So it's not just about getting PR. When you take the IELTS class, you can see listening, that listening, it trains you to listen effectively when the whites are talking. They have their own way of communicating. You get that? It helps your reading ability. It helps you to read fast. For those of you who have written IELTS, the essence of that reading, you can see that sometimes you don't even finish in 1 hour because they are training you on how to read fast. Everything about the white man here is speed. Speed. If you are taking a long time to talk, to say one thing, you've already lost them. They've already left you there to the next person. Everything they do, the way they walk fast. The way they walk fast. You need to see the way they are typing. You'll be wondering, is it the same God that created you and them? You get that? So everything about them is speed. The same way that they might see your resume, your cover letter. It sounds so wonderful, so fantastic. And they invite you for an interview, and that is where the wahala will start. You get that? Because no matter how much you want to pretend like you heard them, you heard the question, but you didn't hear it, you didn't even understand it, they are expecting you to respond based on your level of understanding of the question, right? You are not going there to be making as the average African that you are. That is what IELTS does for you. You get that? You prepare, write the exam, so it gives you confidence. It gives you confidence to go for an interview. You get that? So it's not just about applying for PR. Okay, when it gets to PR time, I would apply for it. You get? There is a reason why Canada, in fact, right now in Australia, for international students, if you don't write IELTS, you can't get admission, you can't get a visa. It's a must for them, a must. You get, and they keep increasing the band score. That is in Australia. You get, and now in Canada, irrespective of the pathway you are going to come through, even for investment in Canada, you need up to 200,000 Canadian dollars to go through the investment pathway, but they still need you to write IELTS. The only thing they do is based on the immigration stream, they know like just like Caregiver, they said just make a CLB4. You get that? CLB4. You get, even for the investment is CLB4, right? But you see, Express Entry, because Express Entry is under the Federal Skilled Workers Program. You are going to go there to work. You're going to work for an employer. You are going to be communicating with your client. They need your CLB goes up to 8 and 9. You understand? So it's very, very important to them. So I would advise you to attend an IELTS, especially those of you that are out, that you are not in UK, you are not in Canada, you are in your country. You get that? Apply and attend an IELTS class. It's very, very important. It will help you. You get it will help you. You get that? Then we will also be doing the career coaching process, detailed guidance from application through to interview. You get that? Customized for candidate both inside and outside Canada. Another thing I didn't even state here is I will do a one-on-one personalized session with you. You get that? Under this paid session, one-on-one, because you really need to know what you're going for. It's not just to say, I'm interested in the caregiving job. You get that? I need to look at your profile. You get to know whether it is even worth it. You get. So, and by the time I look at it, and then I advise you on the things you need to do, to be able to level up. You understand that? To be able to level up. Then effective job search tools. They are effective job search tools. You get? We're going to be talking about it. You discover advanced tools and techniques for efficient job search that targets caregiver roles. You get that? That employers will love to see. Resumes that isn't affected by the application tracking system. You get, for some of you should be hearing that for the first time. You get, so what you don't know, you don't know it. You get that? It is not just to submit resume. I know how many times I tell clients, submit your resume to me to prepare for the one-on-one session I do have for them for the study program. When you see the resume, in fact, I don't really say much because I know that if I'm going to work with this client, we are going to do a resume revamp for the person. It's crazy. You get that? So one thing I'm going to be doing for everybody that will be in the stage is that we would help you. My team and I will help you revamp your resume and your cover letter. I know that most people outside here don't know what cover letter is. Your resume without cover letter, you will just be counting the number of resume you are submitting. Nobody will answer you because your cover letter will give a detail, you get that, of your resume. Your resume are just written in bullet points, but your cover letter is going to explain in details how your resume aligns with the job you are applying for and how you meet up with what the employer needs from you. You get that? You'll be taking that, we'll be teaching you that. You understand that? And one good thing about this is by the time we are done with these 2 days, you would even be applying for other jobs that are not caregiver, because some of you by now would have realized that this caregiver job is not for you. You understand that? So you use it to apply for other jobs, especially this one. This comprehensive breakdown of job platforms is not just for caregivers, it's for other jobs too. Remember what I told you, LMIA for low income jobs has been scrapped out. Right now, it is LMIA for high income jobs. So right now, they can start looking at people who have good, certifications, who have good, good jobs that are well paid. You get that? So you can take advantage of this, even if you're not a caregiver. You get that, and also use it for other job openings. You get that in Canada. So a lot is happening in Canada, especially with change of policies. We know that, another reason why you should go through this session or these 2 days workshop is that right now it has been scrapped out. Visitors in Canada can no longer apply for a job. It has been scrapped out. You get that? It was supposed to end. Visitors being able to apply for jobs in Canada was supposed to end by February next year, February 2025. But as of today, they have scrapped it. So if you are in Canada as a visitor, you cannot apply for jobs. You cannot. You get. So I don't know how you're going to do it, but it has been made official. It was announced a few days ago. You get that? So the good news is that you can be in your country and apply for these jobs. The most important thing is meeting up with employers' expectation and specification. They have the expectations. You get that? And then for those of you that will go to Indeed, let me now bust your bubble. Going to Indeed and other employment sites. Most of the employers on Indeed are employers that are trained to employ only Canadians. You get that? They are trained to employ So if you apply to them from outside, in as much as they may want to employ you, but they don't even know what the immigration pathway is for you. But there are employers. You see those employers that are into sponsorships, they already know what it means to employ from outside. This is what we are going to be looking at in this stage. You will know the employers that are into employing foreigners, whether you are in Canada already or you are from outside. So this is going to take place on the 14th and the 15th of next month of September. You get that? And for these 2 days, the workshop is going for 180,000 for these 2 days, not 80,000 naira. If you're outside of here, is $150. You get that? And if you are interested, I'll be dropping the link. What's her name? Felicia, please drop this link. For those who will be interested in the, I sent it in your WhatsApp. For those who will be interested, and even for the IELTS, for those who will be interested. So if you are a visitor in Canada and you can't apply from Canada, so what it means is you can be a visitor in Canada and get a job, but you won't be able to get a work permit. You get that? Initially, when they said visitors can apply from within Canada and they extended this to February 2025, it means that when you get a job, you can apply for a work permit from inside Canada. That is the implication. But now that they have scrapped it, you can only apply for a work permit from outside Canada. So that's why if you get a caregiver job from outside Canada, you will be able to apply for that occupation restricted open work permit. You understand that? So, yes. So that is it. Okay, so it's question time. Can I use IELTS UKVI General? No. It has to be Canada. You see, it's already written there UKVI. It's not UK they need. You need IELTS or the Pearson test. I think that's a PTI or so, or CELPIP. These are the 3 English language proficiency tests that is acceptable in Canada. IELTS, either British Council or IDP. Pearson tests, English proficiency, and then CELPIP. These are the 3. What if you're not experienced? Okay, so just like I said, okay, so for those that are not experienced, if you register for the next phase of the program, I'm going to introduce you to, it's always good, just have an experience. You get, there are organizations, hospitals in Nigeria that are training people to be caregivers, nursing assistants. You get that? So if you go through their program, it's always like from 3 months to 12 months. They have 3 months program, they have 6 months program, they have 12 months program. If you're able to go through it successfully, get your caregiver, it will help you in getting a job. Now, based on Canada requirements for this program, They said just a secondary school. But you and I know that you cannot go and apply for a job because that requirement is for what? Permanent resident. Now, when applying for permanent resident, all they just need from you is to have secondary school qualification. But for an employer that wants to employ you from Canada and then he looks at your resume, you have no business with caregivers, no certification, no volunteering, no proper work experience. You're just wasting your time because you are in competition with people who are already like active caregivers. You understand that? So I am in affiliation with organizations in Nigeria that you can do one of all these caregiver programs with them, nursing assistants with them, and then even get what they call it, a sort of up to 1,000 hours work experience with them. You understand that? So I'm going to be detailing all that in the next phase of this, in this paid session, in these 2 days. It's like a 2 days marathon. You get that? But after this 2 days marathon, you will still be in the Telegram group and get any assistance you need. You understand? But for you to be able to get a job in Canada, your resume must speak volumes. You understand that? It must speak volumes. So if you are not experienced, you need to go through these organizations, get a certification, you get that, get the work experience you need, you get that work hours you need, so that by the time you are applying for a job, you're preparing your resume, you are very conversant. You get that? And you know, there's something about confidence about what you do. Tell me, if I attend any interview based on being an educational consultant, honestly, I don't think I need to prepare for it because it is what I do every day. You get that? I can face any question in this area because it is my job. You get? So by the time you go for all, you attend, you know, get this training. I'm not talking of you going to Allison to get 2 weeks certificate and you don't have on the job training. You get? I'm talking about going to do a real life course. You check in there, do it. You can also do it online too, but they know how they carry you along because they do even practicals. They do lab trainings, all those stuff. You get that? All this I'll be breaking down if you find yourself in the next phase taking place on the 14th and 15th. Now, what I'll be able to do for you is in the next 24 hours, if you pay, if you're interested to join the next phase in the next 24 hours, I can give you for 150,000, but that is in the next 24 hours because I know what we are doing in those 2 days. So I can't even water it down. If you pay from now till tomorrow, 24 hours, you will be able to get it for 150. After that, it returns back to the 180,000. So, and for you that will be asking, will you get me a job? I don't get a job for anybody. Even for you, for those in Canada, they can respond to that question for you. Nobody gets anybody job. You get? That is why people keep being scammed. Nobody gets anybody job. It's just like in my in a study program, people will come and meet you and say, do you help with the processes of a scholarship? You want scholarship, right? You meet up with the requirement of applying for scholarship, but there is the work proper. Writing your thesis, impressing your supervisor. Nobody would do that for you because by the time they do it for you, the supervisor is impressed with your write-up. You are going to be invited for an interview. How can you go or do an interview that you know nothing about, that somebody has helped you to write? The same thing with a job. You get that? So you are going to be in the process yourself. Nobody gets job for anybody. We can all only expose you to the platforms where it will be made easy for you. You understand that? And then if you are doing anything job in, from outside Canada, if you are the type that wants to start applying for job today and you want to get it tomorrow, then this pilot program is not for you. You gotta just go and look for another pathway to go to Canada. You understand? It's a registered nurse here in Nigeria, qualified to apply. I don't. Nobody should ask me about how to obtain job offer. You get that? I said you will learn on the platforms, the five job-based platforms that you can use in applying for, the caregiver pilot program. For a registered nurse, as much as you're a registered nurse, but please, your resume should not carry that you're a registered nurse. They're not looking for nurses, they are looking for caregivers. The job of a nurse is different from the job of a caregiver. If you followed me from the beginning, I made mention the job of the home support worker and the job of the home child care provider. Even if you're not, if you fall into all these, you can apply, but don't go and project yourself as a nurse. You understand that? So that is it. Can you use OND or HND in place of WIAC, as it might be difficult to evaluate WIAC results? So from everything I read today, I don't think they're evaluating your WIAC. They just said have WIAC as minimum. So they didn't mention anything about evaluation. You get that? The most important thing is you getting a job, so that by the time it's now time to apply for PR, so it's just straightforward. They said get a job in Canada. If you work for the employer between 6 months and 12 months, immediately you are done with it, you start applying for PR. You get, and when you start applying for PR, your academic requirement is your secondary school certificate. So nobody's talking about evaluation there. You understand? Where can I get trained in Nigeria and what kind of certification? I'll discuss all that in the next stage, in the next paid stage. I just mentioned what the 150K will cover. It's an MBA holder with over 16 years experience and you're qualified for this care job. I already told you what it takes to qualify. You get, so I'm going to be dropping the replay of the video. Go through it if you are truly interested. Go through it from the beginning to the end. I already addressed this. The type of IELTS that is required is either IELTS, IDP or British Council, or Pearson tests, or CELPIP. These three, just these three. What should be the minimum salary so as to meet up with the requirements? Yeah, these are all the things we'll be discussing in our next stage, in the next paid stage. Can I enroll in a school while working as a caregiver? Something like work and study. Work and study will not give you 30 hours per week. They said one of the requirements is that you must have a job offer, a full-time job offer of a minimum of 30 hours per week. Can I enroll to a school in Canada? Okay, I think I've said this. Okay, yeah, then another way you can also, you can also prepare yourself for this is going for a caregiver program. You're in Nigeria or you're in Africa or outside or wherever you are. Do a 1-year caregiver program. excuse me, do a 1 year caregiver program, and by at least that will bring you into Canada, get you a 1 year postgraduate work permit, and then you can use the duration of your postgraduate work permit to get yourself a job that pay a job offer where you work a minimum of 30 hours. That's the best way out if you can afford it. You get that? So if after all this you really want a one-on-one session on how to help you achieve all this, I'm here for you to make it possible. You get that? There are different ways you can take advantage of this program. You get that? Because this is one of the best package I have seen for PR. The whole of this year that I've been hearing only negative policies. You get that? I have a diploma in community health and 6 years work experience in caregiving. Do I need to apply for caregiver certificate? So just like I said, somebody who said it's a registered nurse. If you have your diploma in community health and you have 6 years work experience in caregiving, yeah. So if did you see the place I mentioned the duties of a home support worker or home child care? Because it must be either of the two, not the two together. You get, if you meet up with those duties, because those duties are what is mentioned in the Canadian National Occupation Classification. You get that? So you must meet up with them. If everything I mentioned is what you do, yes, then you qualify. The next thing is get a job. So having a diploma in community health and 6 years work experience in caregiving should help you in getting a job in Canada using the right, job search tools, which I will be teaching on the 14th and 15th. You get out of September. No, you can't use IELTS academic. It has to be IELTS general training because it is a permanent resident route. IELTS academic is for study program. Yeah, so in the paid session, I'm going to be dropping the names of the places you can get your caregiving or nursing assistant certification and work hours that can help it, like as a work experience for you. I mentioned what this costs. When you watch the replay, you will see what it covers. I've said it so many times. I believe you're just coming in. And I've also discussed about registered nurses too. If I get the job offer, can my family come along with me before my PR? Of course. I mentioned about the occupational restricted open work permit. It allows you to come with your family, and it also gets an open work permit for your spouse. Most of these questions I'm getting are from people who came in late. You get that? So I would just advise you go through the replay. When you get the link, you will get all your questions answered there, and then you can respond if you meet up. So the 150K is for the 2 days workshop, 14th and 15th. After then, you can be in the group for 1 week. You get that? Because for anybody that is serious, this is not the first time I'm doing anything job. So that's why this time around, I'm very serious about it. If after the 2 days, and you get to stay for 1 more week, the people who are always serious, that 1 week is even too much for them. They are able to do a lot with the 1 week. You get, so the workshop is not to harbor people you are going to be pushing. No. If you know you are not going to be serious, don't bother yourself. It's 2 days, 14th and 15th. for the workshop is a marathon, Saturday and Sunday. After then, you'll be in the Telegram group for 1 week. You get that? For 1 week. If you are serious, that 1 week will help you. Okay, so I think that's it for today, and I will encourage you to go through the replay, especially for those of you who didn't join from the beginning, so that you'll be able to learn a lot. And then I would also be sending into your emails the registration link you have for those registering for the next 24 hours. It's 150. After midnight Canadian time of tomorrow, it goes back to 180,000. You get that? So if you are interested, I don't know if she dropped the link for you. Okay, so I've dropped the link for you, Felicia. Please, if you can drop it on the group. So if you're interested, you take advantage of the next 24 hours. Then if not, then it will be till the next two weeks, yes, 14th and 15th. All right. So most of you are already on my WhatsApp. If you need a one-on-one session, you chat me up and then we go for it. All right. Thanks for making out this time to be part of this free workshop. I'm hoping I'm going to have another one, but that should be like maybe by the end of next month. You get that? All right. Have a beautiful night. Thank you.